Hello folks, welcome to Lexi IAS. In today's video, we're looking into the society and economy of your Slave Dynasty or Mamluk Dynasty. Alright? Now, let's get into the video. Before when we see what the society is, right? Let's now see, right? We said under Delhi Sultanate, there are 5 separate dynasties. The first one is your Slave Dynasty or your Mamluk Dynasty or Ilbari Dynasty. Alright, now they were laying the foundation, okay, they were laying the beginning after an invasion. Okay, after an invasion, that is your Ghaznavid and Gori invasions. After that, they're laying the foundation stone for what it is to come. Okay, that is the perfect transition from your medieval history to modern history was going to begin. That foundation was laid by Delhi Sultanate. Alright, now when we see with respect to society, okay, they have come just from military background. Alright, now we have seen Slave Dynasty as the name itself states. We've discussed in the political part and administrative part of a Slave Dynasty. So slave means out of 2 types. One is for your military purpose and one more is for your domestic chores and stuff. These people are completely from military perspective. And now those people giving importance, okay, to things such as your literature, art, architecture, okay, these things, how specific and nuanced it was, is what you got to observe. Alright, look at this. The Qutbuddin Aibak patronized scholars such as Hassan Nizami. Okay, they produced fine works, and then also your famous contemporary historian at that period of time of Iltutmish was your Minas or Siraj. Alright, so they did give importance to one main thing, that is your history, poetry. Now, if you would see with respect to Slave Dynasty or in a summation, if you would see for your Delhi Sultanate, new ocean of poetries, new ocean of prose, okay, a new innovation period is seen in this, okay. Next, how's the land, okay, or the development of land during your Slave Dynasty? First thing is, more and more cities started springing open. For example, Qutbuddin Aibak's capital, what is Qutbuddin Aibak's capital? Lahore. Okay, Iltutmish, okay, he made his capital as Delhi. Right, so basically growth of capitals is nothing but your growth of cities. So large scale growth of cities started growing up. If cities start growing up, you know how the people around it, the occupation changes, population changes, consumption pattern changes, economy, how it is generated changes. Yes, all this started coming into picture, which means these grew as new zones of trade. Society was shaped around here in a very different manner compared to the larger portion. Alright. Now, the land was categorized into 3 forms at that point of time. One is your Ikta land. We've discussed about Ikta largely in your political, administrative, okay, video of your Slave Dynasty. What is Ikta? Lands are further smaller subdivided into a piece or holding called as Iktas. Instead of paying cash or, okay, salary to your soldiers, they would give this Iktas, okay, wherein they would take, okay, for example, Iktas were looked after by your Iktadar. He would take in sufficient amount enough for the soldiers and for himself, and remaining thing he would give to the king. Right, now these things did not mean, your Iktas did not mean ownership. It did not confer any ownership, nor was it permanent in nature. It was rather temporary and transferable. Okay, next sort of land is your Khalsa land. Okay, in a Khalsa land, what happened was it was directly under the control of a sultan. Whatever produced there directly went to the sultan and his household. Alright, the next type is your Inam land, the one that they used to give as charities, donations, grants. Okay, so land was subdivided into these 3 portions. Okay, and how was the land tax? Your peasantry paid almost 1/3 of the produce as tax. Now this differs, sometimes it's 1/3, sometimes it's more than half of the produce. Okay, somewhere we see somewhere hand to mouth existence also in here. Okay, next, as we just spoke about land, yes, your city started flourishing, city started springing open. So what happened? Okay, urbanization started coming in largely. They started coming in because of the new growth of cities. The growth of cities led to new generation or new way of generation of economy. How are they generating? City, again, what is it oriented? Service. So, which means, okay, your trade. How or who does the trade? That is your merchants. Your merchants started growing in very large amounts, and they were now the wealthy class. They were now the affluent class. They were now the influential people. Alright? How is the trade? Now we just spoke about trade. This period during the slave dynasty, we saw a good amount of growth with respect to trade and commerce. We imported items such as satin, glassware, and horses from your West Asia, raw silk and porcelain from your China. What did we import? We had good amount of muslin, okay, cotton. So these were the items of export alongside other things. Alright. So one more thing with respect to your slave dynasty. We've seen for 3 dynasties within the slave dynasty. What is it? Kutubi dynasty. Okay. First Ilbari dynasty. Next is your second Ilbari dynasty. Okay. This was by Kutubuddin Aibak. This was by Iltutmish. This was by your Balban. While discussing Balban, we have discussed that he was maintaining and making sure there was a strict, stern administration. He wanted to make sure that the roads were safe. Okay, the travel in that was safe. Now, we said in the previous video, trade was very important. Growth of trade was happening. Now, if people kept trading and getting good amount, and when they were going to transport it, and if someone kept stealing off, what is the point of coming there? Right? So, if economic generation has to be sustainable, then it also has to be made sure it has to be safe. Right? For that purpose, your roads were maintained very well. Especially roads or your royal roads. They were in great shape, not only in physical infrastructure, but also from your theft, robberies. Okay, and also there was good amount of resting places for your travelers. Okay, and movement from one place to another was easily facilitated with respect to horses. That itself grew as another occupation. Okay, so predominantly the trade, again, if any place you have to make sure trade is there, it has to be safe. That was made sure in the slave dynasty. Okay, now there were also something called as your royal karkhanas, which supplied materials, goods for your sultan. Okay, now what was the source of currency? Okay, we've seen in your Iltutmish issue large number of silver coins or silver tankas. Now those were, for example, we can tell 1 silver tanka was worth, let's say, 50 copper coins. Okay, so their value was also, right, value was also oscillating with the upcoming dynasties. Okay, so coins were introduced in the form of silver, copper, etc. Alright. Now, what was society at large, if you would look at it, and especially the position of women? So now society at large was predominantly divided into 2 portions, that is Hindus and your Muslims. Now, they started taking in over higher posts compared to your Hindus. Okay, they also dealt with good amount of trade, that is, they were the merchants. Okay, within them, now see, just because Muslims, they were not put under one single block. Okay, they were Afghani origin, Turkish origin, Iranian origin, Indian Muslims. Okay, they all remained, okay, as different units. Yes, they're all under one umbrella, but there was no intermingling among them itself. Okay, they also introduced a system of parda. Okay, now when it comes to your Hindu side, yes, your typical Varna system continued. Now in your Varna system, what is it? Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. This continued. The caste system also still prevailed. Okay, the concept of slaves, okay, the domestic slaves, they also started increasing at this point of time. The practice of wearing a veil for here also started with the high caste Hindu women. Alright, now at the same point of time, we do see practices of sati. It was more towards as a subservient position, or somewhere it was below the. Now, if you would look at the society of your slave dynasty, it's somewhere on these still feudal lines. Alright, that's for the content on the society and economy of your slave dynasty. If you do like our content, subscribe to our channel, hit the like button and share it along with your friends. Thank you.